I read American Kingpin by author Nick Bilton. The You type lines of code into a computer, and out comes a world that didn't exist before. There are no laws here except your laws. You decide who is given power and who is not. And then you wake up one morning and you're not you anymore. You're one of the most notorious drug dealers alive. And now you're deciding if someone should live or die. You're the judge in your own court. You're God. A summary of the book is that American Kingpin is over the story of Ross Ulbricht. He was the man that created the Silk Road, which is an anonymous online marketplace. At first, he created it to allow people to have more freedom in the market, but it quickly turned into a criminal organization. The story then follows Ross and how he went from a good guy with great morals to one of the most wanted criminals in the world. The story has a bunch of different twists, and it shows how the internet can be used for both good and bad. The different characters in the book was Ross Ulbricht. He was the creator of the Silk Road. He wanted to live in a world where the government didn't run everything. Jared Der Yegayan. He was one of the Homeland Security officers or agents who was determined to take down the Silk Road. Chris Tarbo, he was an FBI agent who plays a key role in finding out who Ross is. Carl Force was one of the corrupt agents who got involved in the Silk Road on its bad side, and Sean Bridges is another one of the corrupt agents involved. The plot: Ross Ulbricht creates the Silk Road so it could be used as a place for people to buy and sell freely. But the difference between the Silk Road compared to something like Craigslist is that there was no government interference. The Silk Road became more popular, it became used for legal drug trades and worse. The story structure. The book is based off true events, but Nick Bilton, the author, is a journalist who likes to write about crime and tech, which influenced him to write the story as a thriller. The story goes back and forth between Ross Ulbricht, and the federal agents trying to figure out who he is, and that is building the thriller suspense. Was the case solved? In American Kingpin, there is no mystery. It's very similar to the book we're reading in class in Cold Blood. You, we already know what's going on. There's not really much to it or to be solved. The story goes over Ross and law enforcement perspectives. As a reader, you know what mostly is going on, but we get to see how the story unfolds. Personal connection. The book kind of reminded me of the show Breaking Bad. In Breaking Bad, Walter White lives a double life and has his brother-in-law Hank, who doesn't know it yet but is looking for him. Hank is looking for Heisenberg, the best meth cook there is. Feel that Ross is also Breaking Bad, but in real life, and he goes from a regular guy with a normal past to Dread Pirate Roberts, which was his name online. My academic response is that American Kingpin is probably a 3 out of 10 when talking about how difficult it is to read. It's very engaging, making it easier to read and follow. The author, Nick Bilton, included real quotes and transcripts from the actual investigation, which attracts certain readers and can be found very interesting by many. My recommendations and final thoughts. I recommend this book to anyone who enjoys thrillers and tech. I think that the book was very interesting and it built some good suspense, and I really enjoyed how I got into the dark side of the internet. That is the end of my project for The American Kingpin. I do recommend this book. It was a great read. Thank you.